is what gives us happiness, and this, dear devotees, is what rasa is all about. It is about variegated emotions that a jiva wishes to relish from time to time. Therefore, the Shastra specifies in the Upanishads, it is specified that rasa is the ultimate hankering of the living entity, not happiness. The ultimate hankering, dear devotees, is rasa.
Ananda.
Ananda is a byproduct of experiencing rasa. For example, in the material world, you might have seen people who sing mundane songs of two types. Wish to experience separation, sometimes songs of union, sometimes happiness, sometimes songs of sadness. All of this leads to experience of what the previous authorities have called rasa. Please repeat after me. In the Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, it is said, Raso Vaisaha Rasam Evayam Labdva Anandi Bhavati.
He indeed is rasa. Only by attaining rasa does the living entity become joyous.
So he, Bhagavan, indeed is made out of which substance? Rasa. Therefore, in the beginning of the Bhakti-rasa Sindhu, the first term that Sri Rupa Goswami uses to denote Sri Krishna is Akhila Rasa Amrita Murti. He is the personification of all joyous nectarian rasas. Bhagavan's body is composed of one particular substance, and that substance is rasa. In the Shastra, it said that the Jiva also, the Jiva's body is also described, the Atma is also described as rasa in many places in Shastra. So the Atma also is hankering for rasa, and Sri Krishna himself is also rasa. Therefore, only on attaining rasa, Sri Krishna, does the Jiva finally become happy. Usually, rasa can be translated in three ways. Sometimes it is translated as mellow, or flavor, or as juice. You take an unhappy person, you give him juice, and the end result is you have a happy person, dear devotees. So this juice, this mellow, this rasa is that happiness which a person experiences within the heart when they undergo an experience which is out of this world. You can also call rasa as mundane joy. And in the Sanskrit literature, it is said, please repeat after me, rasyate asvadyate iti rasaha. So that which is tasted is called as rasa. For example, you take juice and then you drink juice. So what are you tasting? Juice. So that juice itself is called as rasa. But after tasting the experience something, what do you experience? Happiness. And that happiness also is termed as rasa. There are two things termed as rasa, dear devotees. The substance that gives you happiness and the experience of happiness. Both of them are termed as rasa. But in general, the happiness that we experience by experiencing something which is very close to our heart can be called as rasa. I'll give you an example of this. Please hear the example carefully. In my childhood, my father would take me to various dramas, theater, and one of those dramas was the drama of Sri Ramayana. And in that drama, I remember a particular scene in which Bharat, the brother of Bhagwan Ram, he comes to know that Sri Ram has been banished to the forest for how many years? 14 years. And all of this has happened behind his back. And after Ram has been banished, King Dashrath is dead. Dear devotees, Bharat decides to go to the forest to trace Bhagwan Ram and to bring him back to the kingdom so that Bhagwan Ram can rule the kingdom. And dear devotees, the scene was shown in front of me where Bharat arrives in the forest and all the mothers are there crying. And then Bharat tells Bhagwan Ram him using various reasons, but Bhagwan Ram says, "No, I will not come back." But Bharat is determined that Bhagwan Ram should rule the kingdom, so Bharat takes the footwear of Bhagwan Ram and Bharat puts the footwear on his head. Dear devotees, the moment Bharat turns back towards Ayodhya, a very emotional moment because that is the moment when all the residents of Ayodhya realize that Bhagwan Ram will not come back for 14 years. So the moment this happened, many of the audience started crying because they understood that Bhagwan Ram is not going to come back for 14 years. And when they started crying, dear devotees, drama was very nice. Everyone went home. And I ended up saying something to my father. It was very nice. We should watch it again. But dear devotees, was it happiness or sadness? Yeah. So my dear friend Jai Jagannath Prabhu gives the precise answer. What was it, dear devotees? Rasa. Rasa has the capability of turning sad events into supremely joyous events. That is what Rasa does. And in the Western world, approximate term for it, and it is called catharsis. You can see on the screen. How is catharsis defined? It is defined as a release or relieving of emotions, especially through drama or art. So, a rough equivalent of rasa can be catharsis that is present in the English language. So, when a person looks at drama or when a person hears poetry, they are able to associate with a particular character in the drama or in the poetry. And because of becoming one in heart with that character, the emotions that the character is experiencing are also experienced by this like-minded, like-hearted person. And the technical term for that, it is called sadharanikaran, generalization of emotions passed from the actor to the audience. And this gives a cathartic experience, which is also supramundane. Dear devotees, even rasa in the material world, in material dramas, is not material. Authors who have defined rasa have said that rasa, even in the material, is actually not a product of the material world. In the Sahitya Darpan, Acharya Shri Vishwanath Kaviraj, he is different from Chakravarti Thakur. Shri Vishwanath Kaviraj says, please repeat after me. Vedyantar sparsha shunyo Brahmananda sahodaraha. When you experience rasa, you become one with that character completely. Vedya antara sparsha shunyo. All other feelings become shunya for you. You do not experience anything at that point of time. And usually this happens when one is watching a live performance, a drama, or one is here sidelined, and you get to experience that feeling of rasa, divine supramundane happiness, and Brahmananda Sahodara. It is the sibling of the joy of merging in the impersonal Brahman. Dear devotees, this is rasa in the material world. We have not yet gone to Bhakti rasa. So even rasa material world gives you an experience which allows you to transcend the material world for the time being. Of course, after some time you come back in the material world and then you continue to live your life as. But even material rasa is not technically material. The previous authorities have said that it is a supramundane experience. Dear devotees, poets have further elaborated upon it. Please repeat after me. Chaturvarga phalaswadam apyatikramya tadvidam kavyamritarasenantash Chamatkaro vidhiyate. Chatur Varga. Dear devotees, there are 4 goals of human form of life. Can anyone tell me what are the 4 goals of human form of life? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and finally it is Moksha. Chatur Varga Phala Aswadam Api Atikramya. Rasa surpasses even the joy of all the 4 goals of life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and it can also surpass Moksha. And it generates Antas Chamatkara. It generates a feeling of wonder within the heart. You know when you are experiencing rasa when the heart says, wow. I hope you are able to understand. One characteristic of experiencing any rasa is the heart should have one feeling. What is that feeling, dear devotees? Wow. So that is called Chamatkar. And Sri Kavi Karnapur says in Alankar Kaustubh, Yam Vinana Raso Rasa. The rasa is not rasa if Chamatkar, wow, is not present within it. Therefore, you will know that you are experiencing rasa when you have 3 experiences. First, you feel completely disconnected from your immediate reality. Second, you feel absolutely invested in the subject matter described. And third, there is a feeling in your heart. Which feeling, dear devotees? Wow. Very simple. Therefore, dear devotees, this experience of rasa is the highest experience that a living entity can have in the material world. And how many of us would like to have an experience of rasa? Please raise your hands. Dear devotees, after narrating all the subject matters of the world in 10 Puranas, the author Sri Vyasadeva was not satisfied at all. And one of the Puranas is Agni Puran. And in the Agni Puran, all the material rasas were described. There is a description of all the material rasas in the Agni Puran. Sri Vyasadeva described it, but even after that, Sri Vyasadeva was dissatisfied because Sri Vyasadeva had not described one particular rasa. And which rasa is that, dear devotees? Bhakti-rasa. And therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam specifically that this particular rasa in the very 3rd verse of the Bhagavatam, Sri Vyasadeva makes it absolutely clear to us in the following verse. Of the verse is Druta Vilambitam. Kindly sing after me. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Shukamukhadamrita samyutam Pibat bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So I have highlighted 2 terms there, dear devotees. What is the first term? Bhagavatam rasam. Bhagavat means related to Bhagavan. So which is that ras which is related to Bhagavan? And that ras is no other ras but Bhakti ras. And Muhuraho Rasika. And the ideal candidate for relishing the Srimad Bhagavatam is a Rasik. Rasik means someone who is a connoisseur and expert in the art of relishing Bhakti Ras. Dear devotees, you can have, how many of you have seen a fruit? Please raise your hands. And how many of you have extracted the fruit, jackfruit? See, very few are there have taken the trouble to extract the fruit, ripened fruit of a jackfruit. It's not so easy because there is that thick skin. Then you tear it apart and it's all sticky inside. Then you use your hands and you sometimes you have to use coconut oil and you use your hands to carefully extract the flesh of the jackfruit. And then you also put the seeds out. And then finally what you have is that ripened jackfruit. And that ripened jackfruit actually gives you one thing in your heart. What does it give you? Rasa. Now you understood, dear devotees. Very easy. There is a culture of extracting rasa. And the first time a person comes in contact with a jackfruit is not going to be easy for them, because they don't have the culture, the samskar of extracting rasa from a jackfruit. And therefore, some amount of practice needed and some amount of guidance is needed from previous experts. Then one can easily extract the soft flesh of fruit and experience rasa. Because rasa has two meanings. One is bhojan rasa, food rasa, and one is bhakti rasa, rasa of the heart. Both are denoted using the term rasa. This is the translation. Prabhu.
O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls.
So you can see nectarian juice there in the second last line. So what is the Sanskrit equivalent of nectarian juice? Rasa. All right. So this is what the Srimad Bhagavatam is all about. And therefore, devotees Sri Rupa Goswami took this most fundamental point from the Srimad Bhagavatam and dedicated his magnum opus. What is the magnum opus of Srila Rupa Goswami? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, to this particular topic of rasa. In the of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami very clearly says that this book is not merely a presentation of bhakti, it is a presentation of bhakti rasa. And this is the verse in the meter Arya that he composes. Arya is a very auspicious meter, slightly difficult to sing. I'll sing it, please repeat after me. Bhakti-rasasya prastutir. Bhakti-rasasya prastutir. Akhila jagan mangala prasangasya. Akhila jagan mangala prasangasya. Agyenapi mayasya. Agyenapi mayasya. Kriyate suhridam pramodaya. Kriyate suhridam pramodaya. Prastuti. Prastuti means this is a presentation. Presentation of what? Bhakti rasasya. This is a presentation of bhakti rasa. Very clear. And Akhila Jagangala Prasangasya. It has all auspicious narrations of Sri Krishna, who is Jagan Mangala Prasanga, who is all auspicious for the entire world. Agyenapi, although I am Agya. Dear devotees, does anybody know what is the meaning of Agya? Ignorant. Sri Rupa Goswami calls himself ignorant in the beginning of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sri Goswami says Saraswati Devi cannot tolerate this. Therefore, other meaning has to be derived of Agya. So please repeat after me the new meaning of Agya. Na, Gyo, Mat. A means there is no Gya, learned person as compared to him. Dear devotees, that is Agya. I would like to say we can have another meaning. Would you like to have another meaning, dear devotees? Yes. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said, Aksharanam akarosmi. Amongst all the syllables, I am the syllable. So, A refers to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So, please repeat, Krishnam Janati. Who knows one who knows Krishna is Agya, dear devotees. So, there are two meanings of the term Agya, fit Srila Rupa Goswami. There is nobody who knows greater than him, and he is the one who knows And what is dear devotees? Krishna. Because Krishna, amongst all the syllables, I am the syllable So, Agyenapi mayasi. Although I am Agya, so we'll take his intended meaning, although I am ignorant. But I have written this Bhakti Rasamrita, Suhridam Pramodaya, for the joy of my near and dear ones. Please tell me, dear devotees, who are the near and dear ones of Srila Rupa Goswami? All right. Wonderful, Prabhu. Who are they? Followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all followers are automatically expected to be Rasika. Dear devotees, how many of us are belonging to the family of Sri Rupa Goswami? Please raise your hand. Oh, it was written for all of you. And all of you are here. What a wonderful coincidence, dear devotees. Huh? The intended book, the wonderful author, the wonderful audience come together at one place. This is the translation. Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
This presentation of Bhakti-rasa, replete with all auspicious of Sri Krishna, has been created by an ignorant person such as myself for the joy of those who are dear to my heart.
Dear devotees, we cannot imagine the struggles that Sri Rupa Goswami has undergone to come to this point where he is composing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He has hid all his struggles behind him. Just in a single verse, he expresses a little bit of his struggles. Would you like to hear about his struggles in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Dear devotees, because unless we understand the struggles that went behind Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it will be very difficult for us to appreciate what Sri Rupa Goswami given to us. Therefore, Sri Rupa Goswami has said that it has not been an easy journey for me. In the introduction, Sri Rupa Goswami says in the same meter, Arya, मीमांसक बड़वाग्ने कठिनामपि कुण्ठयन् असौ जिह्वाम् कठिनामपि कुण्ठयन् असौ जिह्वाम् स्फुरतु सनातन चिरम् स्फुरतु सनातन सुचिरम् तव भक्तिरसामृताम्भोधे तव भक्तिरसामृताम्भोधे. Dear devotees, the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is giving you the imagery of an ocean. In your minds, dear devotees, please think of an ocean. What keeps on depositing water in the ocean? Can you please tell me? Rivers. The main source of water in an ocean are the rivers. A question arises, why doesn't the ocean overflow if rivers constantly keep depositing waters in it? Why doesn't the ocean overflow and cross its borders? The water evaporates, but the speed of evaporation cannot be compared at all, especially in the rainy seasons, especially when there is no sun. How can you compare so much water that comes in the ocean and there is no way out for the water? Where does the water? Of course, it evaporates, but not by the sun. Sri Rupa Goswami says, and it is well known that in the ocean there is a fire that has been burning since the beginning of time. It is called, please repeat, Badavagni. Vagni is a fire which is burning at the very depth of the ocean according to Shastra. This is the fire which constantly keeps water evaporating and keeps the fire in check, and the fire keeps the water in check. I hope you are able to understand. In this way, the oceans never cross their intended border. Sri Rupa Goswami says, Mimamsaka Badavagne. I know there are many Mimamsakas, critics of Bhakti-rasa. I know, and their tongues are like the tongues of this fire. Can you see the tongues of the fire? And they want to dry up this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. But just as the ordinary ocean keeps fire in check, may my Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu keep the sharp tongues of these critics in check forever. This is what Sri Rupa Goswami just indirectly indicates, doesn't give the entire picture behind one. So we will read the translation, Prabhu.
O Sanatana, may your Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu reign victorious for a long time, while suppressing the flamed tongues of those critics who are opposed to it.
Can there be a critic of a literature like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which does not criticize anyone? Rupa Goswami is Anya Nindadi Shunya Rhythm. He has no desire to critique anyone. Can there be people who will critique Bhakti Sindhu, such a wonderful literature? Can we imagine that there will be such people? It's difficult to imagine, but dear devotees, there are, and Sri Rupa Goswami calls them through one name, Mimamsaka. There are people who are very learned in Shastra but agree to the principle of Bhakti-rasa. Dear devotees, let us go back and understand the complete difficulty of Sri Rupa Goswami by going back into history 2500 years ago, when the concept of rasa was fully bought on planet Earth by one particular personality. His name is Bharat Muni. Sri Rupa Goswami is a devout follower of Bharat Muni, and Sri Rupa Goswami never fails to give credit to the original personality who bought the concept of rasa on this planet 2500 years ago. It was Bharat Muni who composed his Natya Shastram, and in Natya Shastram, Bharat Muni gave the concept of rasa, but those rasas were not in relation to bhakti. Those rasas were in relationship to which world? Material world, especially when you watch a drama. Sri Bharat Muni's purpose was Natya. And what is the meaning of Natya, dear devotees? Theater. So, this Natya Shastram, he defines all the rasas that can be experienced in Natya. Please repeat after me. Shringara Hasya Karuna Raudra Veera Bhayanaka Bibhatsadbhuta Sangyau Chet Tyashtau Natye Rasasmrita. Natya, in a drama, there can be 8 rasas. Please repeat the names after me. Shringara. Shringara is Rasarat, the king of all rasas. What does Shringara, dear devotees? Romance. That is what drives the world. Dear devotees, the king of all the rasas in drama. Dramas will fail if this rasa is not present in them. So, Shringara. Second, please repeat, Hasya. And Hasya refers to humor. Where Shringar is present, its near and dear friend Hasya is always there. So Hasya is the close companion of Shringar. Please repeat after me. Karuna, which is piteous. Piteous means you feel this pain in the heart. For example, Maharaj Dashrath passed away. So, even dies, a negative event happens, you feel Karuna ras. The Ramayana is full of this particular rasa. In the beginning of the Ramayana, Bhagwan Ram is sent with Vishwamitra to the forest, and he has to hunt for. In the beginning, Dashrath has no sons. Karuna, he's unhappy. Then Ram is born, he's sent to the forest. Again, he's unhappy. Ram comes back after marrying Sita, he's immediately banished. Again, unhappy. In the forest, also, they are not living peacefully. Ravan comes and kidnaps Sita. Again, unhappiness. Sugriv is supposed to find Sita Devi. Sugriv delays it by 4 months. Again, unhappiness. Then Ravan is killed and then Sita back, but then for a short time they stay together and they are separated. The entire mind is filled with one rasa. Which rasa is that, dear devotees? Karuna rasa. In the Western world, it is said that most of the dramas carry the central element of melancholy. And melancholy can be referred to this particular Karun Ras. But when you experience Karun Ras through the via medium of a drama, do you feel sad or do you feel happy? See, it's a very difficult question to answer, isn't it? The final experience, how do you say? It was good or it was bad? It was good. So finally, even through the via medium of rasa, even unhappiness turns into happiness. And the acharyas of Natya, the acharyas of drama, give an example. They say usually when a person hits you, usually when a person slaps you in the face, what do you feel? Happiness or unhappiness? Unhappiness. When it is a beloved person who slaps you in the face, what do you feel? So, dear devotees, the acharyas gave this wonderful example because this example proves the point that when experienced through the via medium of a drama, what you feel, even the most unhappy events turn into happiness. This is Karuna. Please repeat fourth. Raudra. Raudra refers to anger. Fifth is Veera. Veera is chivalry. You hear of the great kings who sacrifice their lives for the nation, etc. You must center around that. So the emotion that the audience is supposed to experience is Veera. Next is Bhayanaka. Horror. Some seekers of Bhayanaka. Some people love this particular rasa, Bhayanak rasa. They love to be shocked by, certain unpredictable events. Seventh, Bibhatsa. This is disgust. It is mainly in relation to the material world, how it is a filthy place full of putrid substances. Eighth is, please repeat, Adbhuta. And the central element of all of it. What is the meaning of Adbhuta? Wonder, dear devotees. These are the 8 rasas which are experienced only in one place, in drama. And in which world are they experienced? In the material world. Commenting upon this, dear devotees, Bharat Muni did not speak at all Bhakti Rasa. Did not speak at all. Because his aim was not to explain Bhakti, his aim was to explain Natya. And what is Natya, dear devotees? Drama. So his aim was to explain drama. So his book not meant for Bhakti. The commentator on Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra is the 10th century famous commentator from Kashmir. His name is Abhinav Gupta. Abhinav Gupta slightly disagreed with Bharat Muni because Bharat Muni said how many rasas? 8. Abhinav Gupta says no. Please repeat. Techa Nava Shanta Palapina Tu Ashtaviti Tatra Pathanti. Number of rasas is not 8. Number of rasas is 9. We have to add another rasa which does not belong to a drama. And this rasa is experienced when you finally get liberated and merge with the impersonal. And what rasa is that, dear devotees? Shanta. But you cannot portray this rasa in a drama. Therefore, Bharat Muni did not include it amongst the 8 rasas. How can you portray merging in the impersonal in a drama? It's not possible. So also a happiness outside of drama which is experienced when you attain final liberation. And since Abhinav Gupta belonged to the impersonal Kashmir Shaivism of Bhagavan Shiva, therefore he said there has to be a 9th rasa, and that 9th rasa has to be which rasa? Shanta rasa. The author slightly disagrees with the original author. And you can see here, what is the ultimate goal of life for Abhinav Gupta? Moksha. And Shanta Ras is helpful for attaining moksha. And Bhakti is not a Ras. Gupta says Bhakti is a stepping stone that you can use to attain the final goal. What is the final goal, dear devotees, for him? Moksha. So is this a personal understanding or an impersonal understanding? Impersonal understanding, where Bhakti is means to attain the final goal, that is moksha, impersonal liberation. And in moksha you experience that Shanta Rasa, and therefore Bhakti cannot be considered as a separate rasa. Are all of you happy? You can see the struggles of Sri Rupa Goswami. The only available commentator on the Natya Shastra has not accepted Bhakti as a rasa. And then out of a blue, if Rupa Goswami comes and says, no, Bhakti is a rasa, what do you expect the other scholars to say to him? Yeah, no, obviously not. Abhinav Gupta says Bhakti is not a rasa. Bharat Muni doesn't include Bhakti as a rasa. Who are you to say Bhakti is a rasa, dear devotees? This is what the other scholars will say. Therefore, other acharyas followed Abhinav Gupta verbatim as it is. For example, the famous Kashmiri acharya Mammat. Mammat is the author of the famous literature Kavya Prakash. The literature is mentioned even in the Chaitanya Charitamritam. It is the de facto literature for understanding poetics. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Rupa Goswami, all the 6 Goswamis understood this literature very well. The literature is Kavya Prakash. If someone understands this literature, they will understand Sanskrit poetics very well. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada also quotes often from Kavya Prakash in his commentaries on Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, Acharya Mammat also agreed to Abhinav Gupta and said there are total how many rasas by now, dear devotees? 9. Sri Jayadev, who was born in Western India in the 12th century, also agrees to this and does not add anything. In the 13th century came Vishwanath Kaviraj and said, I have another ras to add besides 9. Dear devotees, which rasa did he want to add? Vatsalya. Vatsalya, Vatsasya bhavam Vatsalyam. The feeling of nurturing a calf is Vatsalya. So the feeling that a cow has towards her calf is Vatsalya. This feeling is seen between parents and children. So Vishwanath Kaviraj said, besides Shantaras, there is another ras which is Vatsalya. So now we are with how many rasas, dear devotees? 10 rasas. Another, in the 15th century, Bhanudat Mishra came and said, besides these rasas, there is another rasa, and he called it, please repeat, Maya rasa. What is Maya rasa? Because now Gupta shared Shanta rasa. Shanta means when you have annihilated the material world and are situated in oneness with Brahman. So the extreme opposite of when you are fully immersed in Maya and enjoying yourself, that also has to be a rasa. And that rasa, dear devotees, is known as which rasa? Maya. Huh? Which rasa? I'm not sure, but at least he called it Maya rasa. You are fully drenched in Maya and you are happy. Rinam kritva ghritam pibet, yavat jivet sukham jivet. As long as you live, puris in ghee and eat nicely. Take a loan if required, but purchase good quality ghee. All right, huh? Because after you die, you don't know whether what is going to happen. So might as well live your life potential of material enjoyment. So Maya Ras, dear devotees, this is Anudat Mishra. But in the 16th century, this was after Sri Rupa Goswami, came a very great scholar named Pandit Raj Jagannath, who composed a literature named Rasa Gangadhar. In Rasa Gangadhar, he said he wanted to acknowledge bhakti as rasa, but due to respect of previous acharyas, he said bhakti is not any rasa. But Abhinav Gupta says bhakti can be included in Shanta rasa. Which rasa, dear devotees? You can use bhakti as a stepping stone to achieve which rasa? Shanta rasa, according to Abhinav Gupta. Pandit Raj Jagannath disagrees with Abhinav Gupta and says Shanta rasa is detachment. Bhakti is about attachment. I hope you're able to understand. Shanta rasa is about detachment. Bhakti is about attachment. I can never consider bhakti within Shanta rasa. Then what is bhakti? Please tell me, Pandit Raj Jagannath, what is bhakti? Then he says bhakti is a bhav. What is bhakti? Bhav. What is the meaning of bhav? It arises temporarily and it disappears. There is nothing permanent about it. It's a wave. It arises temporarily, it reaches a peak point, then it goes back. It arises temporarily, reaches a peak point, and it goes down. That is what you can call bhakti. Don't consider bhakti as a rasa. Are all of you happy? No. Therefore, dear devotees, so many acharyas are against bhakti as a ras. We will need a good amount of acharyas who are in of bhakti as a ras. So please say loud Hari Bol to the acharyas who are going to support bhakti ras, dear devotees. So the first acharya I have already given. Who is the first acharya who gave bhakti as a ras? Sri Vyasadev in the third verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. All right. We already have Sri Vyasadev who said, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam. So Sri Vyasadev's support is already there, so don't worry about this. But other acharyas who will clearly denote bhakti as a rasa, the first known acharya in history to write a big thesis upon Bhagavatam in the 9th century in the western part of India appears Sri Vopadev. Not 9th, 13th century in India appears Sri Vopadev. And Sri Vopadev reorganizes the Srimad Bhagavatam topic wise. What nowadays in the 6 Sandarbhas was originally done in the 13th century by Vaishnav from Maharashtra. His name was Sri Vopadev. He composes his Mukta Phalam, his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam, arranges the verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam as we see in the Sandarbhas today. And he is the first personality to give the following conclusion to. Please repeat after me. Bhakti-rasa-syaiva hasya shringara raudra bhayanaka bibhatsa shantadbhuta veera rupena anubhavat. He says bhakti ras that is experienced by the devotees in the form of 9 rasas, hasya, shringara, etc. So what he said is whatever Bharat Muni has given, the devotees experience those rasas, but the original rasa of all those rasas is which one? Bhakti rasa. So this is Bhakti rasa which expands into these 9. That was the first opinion in the 13th century. Dev became celebrated for his opinion and became so popular that after a few hundred years, people started saying that Vopadev wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. You can imagine the popularity that Vopadev had. And he rearranged. Goswami rearranged Srimad Bhagavatam in the Sandarbhas. Vopadev rearranged in his Mukphalam the Srimad Bhagavatam, and these are his exact words that I am quoting here. And dear devotees, Vopadev became so famous. His disciple was named Hemadri Pant. His disciple is fully remembered by Sri Jiva Goswami in the Sandarbhas, the most respectable Hemadri Pant, because his disciple was responsible for creation of the Devanagari script. All right, so you have seen the Devanagari script, dear devotees. Yeah, so he popularized Devanagari script throughout India. It was a disciple of a Vaishnava, and the name of Vaishnava was Sri Vopadev. Prabhu, kindly read the translation of his paragraph.
Bhakti rasa is experienced by the devotees in the form of 9 rasas: hasya, humor, shringar, romance, etc.
Dear devotees, then came the very famous commentator in the 13th century, Srila Sridhar Swami. There is a good reason why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loves him. Because amongst all the commentators of Srimad Bhagavatam, he is the first one. He very clearly denoted bhakti as a ras. And in which verse, dear devotees, especially in the verse in the 10th canto, where Sri Krishna enters the arena of Kamsa, and when Sri Krishna enters the arena of Kamsa, all the members of the audience, see, it's a natya, it's a dramatic performance. Sri Krishna is the ideal actor of the drama, because Krishna is often said, "Oh, natya dharo." Kunti Maharani says he's the ideal artist who performs drama, and everyone in the audience is looking at this particular actor who is enacting a wonderful drama, and different people are able to look at him through rasas. This is impossible for an actor, because usually people look at an actor with one rasa in their mind. For example, in the of Bharat that I gave, who's returning back to his kingdom, what do you feel when you see such a Bharat returning back to his kingdom with tears in his eyes? Which rasa do you feel? Karuna ras, piteousness. But Sri in that arena of Kamsa was such that all rasas were demonstrated simultaneously by Sri Krishna. Srila Sridhar Swami in his commentary composes the following verse. Please repeat after me. Rautascha Shrangaro Hasyam Virodaya Tatha Bhayanakascha Bibhatsa Shantah Saprema Bhaktikah. Raudro, the other wrestlers, they felt the anger of Sri Krishna. He's in sequence, he's giving. That verse, the sequence which the verse mentions is also mentioned here. So the wrestlers experienced Raudra. The wrestlers who saw Sri Krishna experienced one rasa, and that was anger. Then the common people experience the second rasa. Which rasa is that, dear devotees? Wonder. And how does wonder sound? Wow. All right. So this was experienced by people in general. And the ladies in the audience experienced the third rasa. Which rasa is that, dear devotees? Shringar. And Shringar is romance, dear devotees. And then the cowherd friends of Sri Krishna against the fourth rasa. And which was the fourth rasa? Hasya. And then the other gopas experienced which rasa? Veer. Chivalry, the other kings present experienced Veer Rasa, and the parents experienced the next rasa, Daya, which is Karun Rasa, which is that piteousness. The parents felt immense unhappiness. And Kamsa experienced the rasa. Which rasa is that, dear devotees? Horror. Yeah. And the impersonalist yogis saw him all pervading like Arjun saw, So they experienced which rasa, dear devotees? Bibhatsa. And Shanta is those who were perfect amongst them, those who could understand that he's the supreme personality of Godhead. They experienced Shanta rasa. And then there were some devotees present there, Akrura, etc. Experienced which rasa, dear devotees? Prema, Bhakti. So one person was able to give all these rasas. This is a direct admission. The last term he uses is Saprema Bhaktika. He adds a rasa at the end. Sri Swami, which rasa does he add? Prema Bhakti Rasa. He adds as that, dear devotees. So this is what was experienced by audience, and Srila Sridhar Swami brought it out. So how many acharyas do we have in support of Bhakti? Please tell me. Who's the first one? Sri Vyasadev. Who's the second one? Sri Vopadev. Who's the third one? Sridhar Swami. Dear devotees. Then came the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, Sri Kavi Karnapur in the 16th century. Although he was slightly later than Sri Rupa Goswami, mentioning all the acharyas besides Sri Rupa Goswami. In the 16th century, he appeared slightly after Sri Rupa Goswami. He accepted the 9 rasas of the previous poets in his Kaustubh, but he added 3 new rasas to them. Please repeat after me the names of 3 rasas: Bhakti-rasa, Vatsalya-rasa, Prema-rasa. His categorization is different from Sri Rupa Goswami because the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu was not composed at that time. So his categorization is slightly different. What is Bhakti Rasa? That general feeling of bhakti that you have. Oh, I go to Vrindavan. Oh, I will pay my obeisances to Yamuna. Oh, I will see Sri Madan Mohan. Dear devotees, this feeling that you have, that general feeling of meeting Bhagavan, that is denoted by which rasa, dear devotees? Bhakti Rasa. And then there is Vatsalya Rasa, the feeling that Mother Yashoda had for Sri Krishna. And then there is Prema Rasa, which we nowadays call as Madhurya Rasa. So these are the 3 rasas that Sri Kavi Karnapur denoted in his Alankar Kaustubh. And Kavi Karnapur said rasa can be of 2 types: Prakrita in the material world and Aprakrita. The last 3 one are completely Aprakrita. This Bhakti Ras, Prema Ras are Aprakrita. They are belonging to the spiritual world, dear devotees. And then Sri Lokanath Goswami, dear devotees, he rejects the idea, doesn't consider material rasa as rasa at all. You can see how even within the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are not all on the same page. It's good to have a healthy disagreement. Sri Lokanath Goswami says, Prakrite rasa eva nasti. There is no rasa in material dealings. Those who see rasa in material dealings are totally bewildered. There is no possibility of experiencing true rasa in men or women whose bodies are extremely fragile and are going to end up being eaten by insects, burned by fire, etc. So then Lokanath Goswami is asked, then why did Sri Kavi Karnapur? Because he is commenting on Sri Kavi Karnapur's literature and he is writing against what Sri Kavi Karnapur has written. So why did Sri Kavi Karnapur accept the material rasas? So Sri Lokanath Goswami says, because he has respect for the previous poets, therefore he has accepted. Otherwise, even Kavi Karnapur knows that these are not actually rasas. Actually, there is only one rasa, that is which rasa? Bhakti Ras. That's it. Because there is eternality to that rasa, and this Bhakti Rasa does not undergo the 6 transformations of the material world. What are the 6 transformations, dear devotees? Birth, existence, growth, transformation, dwindling, death. In Sanskrit, Jayate, Asti, Vardhate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Nashyati. Material rasa undergoes these 6 transformations. Bhakti Rasa doesn't undergo these 6 transformations. This caught the attention also of the Adi Shankaracharya school. And they didn't want to be behind in this topic, dear devotees. So there came a personality who's very respected, Sri Madhusudan Saraswati, in the 16th century, accepted bhakti as the highest rasa, because by that time he had an access to the literature of Srila Rupa Goswami. So accepting all the rasas that Sri Rupa Goswami had accepted, but not mentioning Sri Rupa Goswami's name. Have been nice if he would have mentioned Sri Rupa Goswami's name, but he did not mention Sri Rupa Goswami's name. But he says that bhakti is the highest of all rasas. In fact, all other rasas are completely insignificant in front of bhakti. This is the verse he composes in Bhakti Rasayanam. Paripurna rasakshudra रसे भगवद रति खद्योते इवादित्य प्रभे बलवत्तरा परिपूर्ण rasa. Bhakti rasa is completely complete in itself. It doesn't need help from any rasa. And khadyotebhya ivaditya, just as fireflies are insignificant in front of the sunshine, all material rasas are insignificant in front of bhakti rasa. Dear devotees, this is an individual from Sri Adi Shankaracharya school of understanding. His ultimate aim is to merge in the impersonal Brahman, but he did not want to stay behind in this entire exciting new development that was going around by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and which was that, dear devotees, Bhakti Rasa. Sri Rupa Goswami had struck at the heart of a brilliant new concept that came straight from the spiritual world and was not explored to its complete depths till now. And why would Sri Madhusudan Saraswati want to stay behind? Of course, Sri Madhusudan Saraswati was from Bengal. In his childhood, he had a desire to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had traveled to Navadvip to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By that time, Mahaprabhu had gone to Jagannath. He could not meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his childhood. Returning back to Kashi, Varanasi, he got trained in the impersonal school of thought. But from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's school of thought, were present in his heart, and it came out in his literature, Bhagavad Bhakti Rasayanam. So he is that impersonalist who has deep respect for bhakti. There are two categories of impersonalists: one who disregard bhakti, what Sri Brahma says, those who fall down, and the second category is those who have immense respect for bhakti, and Sri Madhusudan Saraswati to that category. No wonder Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary to Bhagavad Gita, quotes Sri Madhusudan Saraswati many times and refers to his name as Sri Madhusudan Saraswati Padaha, the respect Madhusudan Saraswati. This is how Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur refers to Sri Madhusudan Saraswati. Although he is an impersonalist, ultimately, his aim is to merge in the impersonal Brahman, but very respectable because he described bhakti as a rasa. And this is an entry point for bhakti rasa in the Advaita Sampradaya. I hope you are able to understand. This is an entry point for bhakti rasa in the Sampradaya of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. So henceforth it became normalized. Yeah, bhakti is a rasa. And you can't believe what happened after that. After Sri Rupa Goswami wrote his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 2 centuries later, devotees started saying something. Why should Krishna have all the 5 rasas? Bhagwan Ram should also have 5 rasas. So many attempts were made, dear devotees, to bring all the 5 rasas to the worship of which deity? Sri Ram. But dear devotees, we should always remember the original genius of all of that was our Srila Rupa Goswami. It was he who brought this wonderful concept, because Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale understood what was in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he established that on planet Earth. Not, he didn't keep it to himself, he established it on planet Earth. Dear devotees, therefore Sri Rupa Goswami in the 15th century gave a complete standing of bhakti by first and foremost defining bhakti in the most complete manner. And what is the most complete definition of bhakti, dear devotees? Are you are all followers of, please say. Anya Bhilashitanyam Jnana Karmadyanavritam Anukuyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. This definition cannot be improved upon, and nobody has to improve upon it. There is no other definition besides this which covers all aspects of bhakti. So a complete definition of bhakti was given. He explained bhakti as a sadhana, as a practice. and bhakti so as a rasa, as the goal, dear devotees. The final goal is bhakti rasa, and 5 primary bhakti rasas. What are the 5 primary ones, dear devotees? Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. And 7 secondary rasas were given: Hasya, Veera, Adbhuta, Karuna, Bibhatsa, Raudayanak. So 7 secondary rasas were given, and these rasas were further explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, his own nephew, his magnum opus, the 6 Sandarbhas, especially the final Sandarbha, which is Sri Priti Sandarbha, where Sri Jiva Goswami says the Priti is the highest goal of life. And what is Priti? Bhagavat Prem, which is experience. How do you experience Priti? What is the substance that is used in experiencing Priti? Ras. And which ras, dear devotees? Bhakti ras. This is the only rasa which is worthy of relishing. Other rasas are extremely insignificant in front of it. Next, I'll show a verse where Sri Jiva Goswami compares all the romantic novels of the material world to Sri Sri Radha Krishna Lila. I'll also show such a verse. There exists such a verse in Gopal Champu, but this is what Sri Rupa Goswami has given to us. And Sri Rupa Goswami is saying something. I'd like to repeat this verse, dear devotees. Please repeat after me. Bhakti rasasya prastutir. Bhakti rasasya prastutir. Akhila jagan mangala prasangasya. Akhila jagan mangala prasangasya. Agyenapi mayasya. Agyenapi mayasya. Kriyate surudam pramodaya. Kriyate suhridam pramodaya. Bhakti rasasya prasutir. This presentation of Bhakti rasa, dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami wants to say, you imagine how much struggle has gone behind this, but I am still presenting these most auspicious narrations of Sri Krishna, these descriptions of Bhakti rasa, although I may be agya, ignorant. Dear devotees, what does agya mean? One who knows Sri Krishna, dear devotees. Although I am agya, in his humility, he says, although I am ignorant, but I am creating Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu for all of you who are near and dear to my heart. Will you accept Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, dear devotees? So this is what is the purpose of this literature. A lot of struggle through the centuries has gone behind. Sri Jiva Goswami says in the commentary, Anukule pratikule cha pandite dhane mamana shakti. I have no capacity to harmonize those learned people who are against Bhakti Ras and those who are for Bhakti Ras. Imagine Sri Jiva making a statement like this. I don't have the capacity to bring all of them on the same page because some of them will never agree that Bhakti is a Ras. But those who have experienced it once will understand that Bhakti is the original Ras. It is a matter of experience. It cannot be understood simply by logic and argument. It is a matter of experience, dear devotees. So I'd like to pause my words at this point of time. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit vidvam saha purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guru reva me nahi. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit. If there's anything mistaken in what I spoke, vidvam saha, you are learned devotees. Purayantu, please correct any mistakes. But yadatra saushthavam kinchit. If anything was nice, please remember tad guru reva. It all belongs to my Gurujanas. Me nahi belongs to me. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. So Maharaj, we have time for Q&A? Right. So anybody would like to ask? Yeah. Brajnath Prabhu and then Mother Purnama and then Maharaj also. Maharaj, would you like to ask first? Sure. Let's give the first chance to speak.
Thank you very much in this for taking us on the journeys through understanding throughout the centuries through many scholars the idea of and yes, I think we all can acknowledge it is not happiness, but it is rasa ultimately, which we are craving for, because even happiness turns after some time into the opposite. I just have a very technical question. Sridhar Swami wrote this very he zoomed into Krishna entering this huge wrestling arena and commented how different individuals experience different rasas with one person, with Krishna. Would you be so kind to just give me give that slide where Sridhar Swami identifies the various rasas? Yes, and can I perhaps Gaur Krishna to just make a snapshot of that, because I like this verse very much, the Bhagavatam verse, and it's very, very enlightening to hear Sridhar Swami commentary on this. But yes, I only wanted to see that verse later. Thank you very much. I have no question at this moment. Only I want to really say, in our life, we are really going through various experiences, and it is important to know what we are searching for, so that we can open the jackfruit of material life and get to the essence there. Very nice. I'm looking forward to hear. I think there's 3 presentations on this subject. Yes, I have no other comment than we say in Germany. You hit the nail on the head in finding this subject. It's an important.
Brajnath Prabhu.
Yeah, this was the wow kata. Yeah, so nice how you presented it. Very helpful. I want to thank you from core of heart. My just mentioning the Mimamsak cannot appreciate us.
Yeah.
Can we define it a little bit more, like those who are just too much attached to mundane logic and argument, whose hearts have been dried up because of.
So how do we define Mimamsaka? Because Sri Rupa Goswami term in his Mimamsaka usually refers to a follower of the school of Purva Mimamsa, follower of the school of Jaimini Rishi, and they are Vadis. Vedavadis means for them Vedic sacrifices and going to Swarga is the ultimate goal of life. And since there is nothing higher than that, obviously they will not consider bhakti as a rasa. They cannot consider. Another meaning of Mimamsaka is a hair splitter, somebody who loves to split hairs. That is the meaning of Saka, which is more appropriate here. Because Sri Rupa Goswami knows not only from school of Jaimini, but also from the other schools of poetics. People come and try to attack the concept of Bhakti-rasa. So all of them have been grouped together in one term, Mimamsaka. Those who like to split hairs over small issues, and those who would not like to see other people live happily. That is, that is whom you can call Mimamsaka. The best one amongst those are grammarians, because grammarians are compared to Vaiyakarana Kirata. They are compared to hunters who hunt, all other disciplines, Ayurveda, Nyaya, Mimamsa, everything. You may say everything, you may be a big expert, but in order to express yourself, you have to use Sanskrit, and you make one mistake in a single term, and Aryan will come out with his arrow. So therefore, in the Western world, it's called grammar Nazi. As you call grammar Nazi. So the highest Mimamsak is grammar Nazi. Yeah. So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is one term used, Vishrama Mandirataya Tasya. In the beginning, there is a verse. Mandir hai. What is the meaning of Vishram, dear devotees? Rest. According to Sanskrit grammar, Vishram is not a term that can be formed by Panini's sutras. Vishram is a questionable term. So the Sakas who have written by Sri Rupa Goswami, why is he writing Vishram? Should be Vishram, not Vishram. For half a syllable, they can take you to task. So, and then there are people who defend Sri Rupa Goswami for using Vishram instead of using Vishram. So that is going to go on forever, and there is no end to that. But uh, there's a there's a Sanskrit verse that काव्यास्वादन काले तु शब्दोत्पत्ति विचारका नीवि बंधन लायाम वस्त्र मूल्य विचिंतका. That when people while relishing poetry, those who start looking for grammatical faults, it's just like when a beloved they meet each other after a long time, and instead of asking each other how are you, where did you get this cloth, how much does it cost, you can compare it to that situation, dear devotees. So Mamsakas, you can try to understand. They love to argue, and you might have seen many such people around you. They love to argue just because they want to have their prestige established as someone who knew everything about everything. So that is Mamsakas. Right.
Those who have, like, due to too much renunciation, their hearts
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, that renunciation aspect will come out in the next few parts. Who is ineligible for experiencing bhakti ras, especially madhurya ras, and that will be the renunciate. By renunciate, please don't think that somebody wears saffron, all right? So we will discuss who is that person who is ineligible for relishing bhakti ras, but I have kept that for a future presentation. All right, thank you. Yeah, Purnamasi.
Thank you for the presentation. I would like to just comment how amazing it is that over the centuries we're so much involved in this topic, and now in this world of books and new newspapers and everything, there was so much topic of rasa. And please, can you tell us, I heard the number of 18 years when Srila Rupa Goswami was writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Do you know? There also maybe to explain, because now we know the struggle he went like this, which you present, and also the other struggles, if you would just shortly say
Yes,
something.
Sri Rupa Goswami, the final edition of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu he wrote was after Sri Jiva Goswami came back to Vrindavan. So although the ideas were already there, but a proper shape was not given until he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's only after he renounced his work and went to Prayagraj and met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him to put it in a particular organized format. There is a commentary. Previously, Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami used to relish the Srimad Bhagavatam, and then they would also relish poetry. There is a commentary of Sri Sanatana Goswami on Meghdut of Kalidas. It's a rare commentary of Sri Sanatana Goswami on the Meghdut of Kalidas. So it is very clearly known that they had relished not only Srimad Bhagavatam but also poetics in general. But Sri Rupa Goswami's heart was always having the idea, the seed of Bhakti Ras, but it was fully developed when he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and got all the details from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, including the definition of Uttama Bhakti. And then in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the final edition that was compiled in Sri Vrindavan was when Sri Jiva Goswami had come back. Sri Jiva Goswami used to sit next to him, fan him while he was composing. Sri Jiva Goswami asked all the questions, and Sri Jiva Goswami made his note in front of Sri Rupa Goswami. So that is the final edition. But the ideas were already there previously since his youth. And other challenges were India was under severe Mughal rule. There was a prize on the head of every sadhu. If you could bring the severed head of a sadhu, you'll get 2 gold coins. So there was no hope of becoming a published author and publishing thousands and thousands of copies. And there was no hope that whether the manuscript will survive for another 200 years or not. But Bhagwan's mercy, it survived, and we have it today. That is Mahaprabhu's unconditional mercy. We have it with us today. But originally it was under Kadamba tree in Sri Vrindavan with no hopes of becoming a published author in his entire lifetime. That is when Sri Rupa. Therefore, he says, I'm writing for my near and dear ones. So the immediate Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And by extension, we also are Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We are supposed to understand the value of what Sri Rupa Goswami went through. So I hope that answers. Yeah. We'll come to you, Mataji. Vaijayanti Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the presentation. Today you were speaking about the culture of extracting rasa. And yesterday you were also having this verse about that we can get bhava in our heart from someone else. So I hope you could a little bit explain how to retain the bhava or rasa in our heart for a long time.
You don't have to do anything to retain it. Once you're touched by it, the first touch will transform you. Like lion tastes blood for the first time, then you don't have to anything else separately. There is a verse in the Bhagavatam which specifies this, and I will pull out that verse. Please repeat the last line. Vihatum rasagraho jana. So you can see rasa also is mentioned here. Vihatum ichen, you can see in the word for word, to give up. He never desires to give up. But one who has relished the mellow, a person who has relished even once will never desire to give it up. Srila Prabhupada in the translation says, because a person has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord. The Sanskrit term is rasa. A person who has once tasted rasa can do nothing but remember that ecstasy and again. So you won't have to do anything else. Once you have tasted it, like a lion tastes blood for the first time, then the lion doesn't have to ask, what do I need to do? Everything else will come automatically. But once that the experience has to happen once, and rasa has to touch your heart once. Sri Madhusudan Saraswati, whom I quoted in the Bhagavad Bhakti Rasayanam, says the heart can be compared to an ornament of lac, L-A-C, lac. And Bhakti Rasa is the warmth that melts it in different places. So once the heart is melted in certain places by Bhakti Rasa, it will no longer be the same. And then you will hanker for that experience again and again. This verse is the proof. 1.5.19. Vihatum rasa graho. One who has accepted rasa, tasted rasa, will never desire to give it up. Challenge is the first genuine experience of bhakti ras. And that is the purpose of all the sadhan bhakti. Sometimes we have bhav abha, experience bhav, and that too a shadow of bhav. Somebody gives a lecture and then we feel like crying, and suddenly, tears come out of our eyes, and then we go home and then everything normal. So that is what you call bhav abhas. But an actual experience of rasa will be such that you will not be able to give up thinking about Bhagavan again and again. So there will be nothing separately required when that happens. All right? Thank you. Mataji, yes, please.
Bahut maza aya, bahut rasa aya. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So I'm having a question pertaining the experience of material rasa. So you were saying that the experience of rasa in this world is devoid of material contact. But I don't understand, because my understanding is that the tatastha shakti, or the jiva coming from tatastha in the material world, can only experience jada, yeah, so material ananda. So what is that experience made of?
So you are saying that the living entity in the material world can only experience material happiness. But rasa is that mundane happiness which is devoid of any material contact. That is what the previous poets have said. The previous poets will defend themselves by quoting Upanishads. And let me see if it is there. Yeah, please. 11.339. Please repeat. Sukam aswapsam na kinche avedisham In the deep sleep, say suppose somebody worked very hard for the entire day, fully tired, each limb in the body is breaking, and go to sleep. And when they go to sleep, they don't feel any, not even a single dream comes to them. They sleep throughout the night. They sleep for 10 hours. Now, while they are sleeping, what happiness are they experiencing?
A Brahman-like experience.
Wonderful. The jiva is in the material world experiencing the feeling of merging in the impersonal Brahman. Yeah. So, only after waking up does the living entity say, Sukham aham asvapsam. I slept so happily. How do you know you slept happily? Because you were like completely unconscious at that time. Because the after effects are seen in me, in my mind. When I have woken up, I feel so joyous and refreshed, which meant I must have undergone constant happiness while I was sleeping. Now, what is that? The happiness of having all the internal and external faculties merged with Brahmatma, Super Soul, is what Sushupti is. In deep sleep, it merges with the Paramatma in the heart. At the time of destruction, it merges ultimate Paramatma of the universe. In both cases, when the Jiva merges with the Paramatma, there is a joy that is experienced by the Jiva that is not, Jiva cannot describe while it is merged. And that joy is here. Sukham aham asvapsam na kinchid avedisham. So they will say, see, I'm speaking from their side, all right? I have to speak from both sides because so they will say that even in the material world, it is not all Jad Ananda. Although Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Mahasaya and other acharyas might have said that in the material world, the living entity experiences material happiness. In a general sense, he might have said, while the creation is going on. But during destruction, the living entity experiences another kind of happiness. So that is the answer to the question. So even during to experience some happiness, but even greater than that is the happiness of experiencing rasa. It completely switches you off from all the other contact of the material world. And then you feel one with the actor on the stage with whom you are identifying. And then that feeling of catharsis overtakes you and washes your entire existence with bliss. And that is what you call wow. The final experience, wow. So that is, so therefore, those who have had a good culture of watching drama in their childhood will remember. How many of us drama, not movies, dramas? Please raise your hands. So watching dramas and movies is different because in a drama, the seats which are nearer to the stage cost more, and in a movie, the seats which are further away cost more. Because a movie is a dead medium, you know that there is nobody acting it out live. So, the most important thing is to preserve the culture of drama, theater, and you can easily experience many rasas there. Especially Adbhuta, wonder, you can experience in many times. You can experience. So, I hope that answers your query.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll go behind. Prabhu, Gaurari Prabhu, you have to tell me when to stop.
I think we have to see that we go through the festival as a marathon,
Yeah.
like not like a sprint.
Yeah. So yeah. So, last question, or should we? All right, last question. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, thank you for your wonderful lecture. It was very nice. My question is about the everlasting effect of rasa. So we want that. We always want this taste of rasa, right? And so why do impersonalists want to dissolve an eternal Brahman? Then there won't be any Atma who experiencing this rasa. So what is the thought behind this?
Why do imps want to dissolve everything and merge into the impersonal Brahman?
Yeah.
What is, because that is Shanta, and they consider Shanta to be the highest rasa amongst all of them.
But if there's no Atma who's feeling this rasa, so where is the experience of rasa?
As a Vaishnav, you are saying there is no Atma. You look from their point of view, you have already become Brahma. Why do you need to be an Atma? See, always we sometimes ask questions from the Vaishnava point of view. In my childhood, I was schooled by an impersonalist. My grammar teacher was an impersonalist. So I saw also from their point of view. If you're already Brahma, you're everywhere. No? Why have a limited experience in a limited place, in a limited body, subject to limitations, when you can be everywhere and experience Shantaras in its fullest? See, no answer. So welcome to Karacharya School of Thought. Of course, there's an answer to that, but um, the answer to that is that those who wish to merge into Brahman and become Brahman, they have not made a very intelligent choice. Because the choice they have made is that they wish to be the enjoyer of Shantaras. And it is foolishness to try and become the enjoyer in your ultimate destination. It is big foolishness to try and become an enjoyer in your ultimate destination, because there already is an enjoyer, that is Bhagwan, and ask Bhagwan if he is truly happy. You should ask, are you happy? Yeah, sometimes. Bhagwan is also not fully satisfied with being Bhagwan himself all the time. Eko Syam Prajayayam, Vedas say, alone I am, let me become many. Why you're not happy alone? There's no happy alone, dear devotees. So those who select the happiness of becoming Brahma, becoming Bhagwan, it is not a very intelligent choice to make. All right, so I'll pause here. Thank you very much, dear devotees. We'll resume. What time, Prabhu? Yeah,
just
please make the
give- yeah.
announcement.
Thank you so much, Hari Prashad Prabhu, for this brilliant presentation. I think for the time being, we were totally disconnected from the world. We were fully absorbed in the topic, and we all experienced the wow effect. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I have to give some announcements that are totally a different area of life, but needs to be done at the moment. In case you came here with small children, we have actually a wonderful program organized for them. We have a forest pedagogue who is here and who can take them and make them discover the forest and adventure. That will be from 11 to 1 during the lecture class and from 6 to 8 into the evening. On the first floor of this building, you have the office where you can all register. And next to it, there is the Maha shop available. So you can get a lot of Mahaprasadam if you like. And for today, the program, we will have another lecture from Hari Prashad Prabhu from 11 to 1, where we will see about the culture of Smaranam. And then after lunch, a good break, and there is an optional program. Some of you still want to hear more and hear more. We have a wonderful lecture from Holland, His Grace Nilambar Prabhu, who will give a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam in practice in the bar house. This is the house between here and the guest house. There's a room, Nandagram, that's from 4 to 5. And at 5 o'clock, please all come. We will have Vrindavan Bhajans. We will sing with Shyamananda Ratnamanjari. And after that, Holiness Sacinandana Swami concluding the day with 2 hours of Lila Katha and Kirtan. So that's a little bit for today's program. I think you mentioned, Hari Prashad Prabhu, that we can also experience rasa eating.
Oh, yeah.
So we can all go and practice breakfast eating in the tent. And I'm not sure if you will have mango juice or not, but everything will be there for good taste. So see you please all at 11 o'clock. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
I overslept today. I overslept. Oh, sorry.